We are going to keep the ball rolling and move right on to our next presenter, who was in the fire service for 40 plus years and just retired in July of 2019. He started trading futures on his off days 40 years ago. If you struggle with the psychological side of emotions when it comes to money management, then our next presenter has a solution for you. It's a software program called Discipline Manager. Ladies and gentlemen, here to present the Discipline Manager can cannot help you with your trading psychology, but will help you with your discipline, and that will lead to a healthier psychology, is Mr. Stephen Tremper from Tremper.com. Welcome to Traders Corner, Stephen.
Hi, how you doing? Can you hear me okay?
Are you muted, Mr. Tremper?
I don't think so, but I could be.
I do see your screen, but I do not hear you yet.
Okay, so audio.
Unmuted.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
And you can see my screen. Okay, good. Sorry about that. Boy, I'm going to try to keep on the 45 minutes also to respect that. So thank you for the opportunity to demonstrate and show you and introduce the Discipline Manager. My hope and intent is that it will help other traders overcome the same struggles that I've had over the years. So I'll just go through this. And basically the summary of today is what is and do you need the Discipline Manager? Money management is the main thing. Psychology, as I alluded to before, regarding your accounts and whatnot. Show you how to establish the rules, your rules within the Discipline Manager, and show and give you examples of breach limits. What'll happen if if you breach your limits and whatnot. The cost, and I've got a little special going on today, and then how to download it all together. And then if there's enough time, I'll do some questions and answers, but certainly I'll give you my email address and I'll answer them all that way, or Skype me or any other way. So here's the government required thing that everybody has to have probably seen before. I really don't need to show it here. It's just in the slide presentation. The Discipline Manager does not take trades or show you how to do trades or do anything like that, so the disclaimer is really not necessary. But all in all, here I am. Unlike all these other presenters, I'm nothing like them. I've got 40 years in the fire service, and I'm just a trader. I started about 10 years ago, fiddle-farted around with options and forex, and kind of landed on futures. But by no means do I want to come across as some expert like the people here on this channel today, or even ones I've seen in the past. I struggled with the psychological side and the emotional sides, and when it comes to money management, and that's how the Discipline Manager actually came to fruition. It was just for me. And then as it started to get more and more, people started asking, my group and whatnot started asking, and then that's really kind of fell into over the time. But anyway, that's me. That's just a picture of did a tour at the, this is the visitor pass that I have on it, the tour at the Board of Trade. Like I said, about 10 years ago, I got into it. And so since I retired, it's just all I just eat and breathe it. Anyway, so, money management, I want to get into that. I did a little research on that, and so many people fail based on management and trading in general. And I still say, some people don't say it, I totally disagree. Psychology, emotions, fear, greed, hope, regret, all that business has a major, major part in it. At least it did for me. And the lack of training and, the old adage is, if you don't have no plan is a plan to fail. What was that, Winston Churchill, I believe? Anyway, so the main thing that you have to do, though, is control those losses. Whatever your average winning day is, don't lose more than, the bad day. Surrender to the fight, not to the battle. That you've heard all those before. And everybody has a different account size. So 1% to you on a $5,000 account. And if you're trading micros, a $5,000 account on a micro account is different. So, everybody has their own thing, and that's why you have to kind of set your own rules. But the main choices you have is a big win, a small loss, or a big loss. And basically, we need to eliminate those big losses. And by doing that, the psychology will be much more at ease. And then that way, that helps the psychology part of it. And I do tie a lot of them in together, money management and psychology. And we've all been been here with this one, over trading, revenge trading. I was going to do a poll. Do I really need to do one? Everybody knows, and deep down inside, what they have struggles with. So as you know alluded to before, the discipline manager cannot help you with your psychology, but it will help you with your discipline, and that in turn will lead to the healthier psychology. And you know, as time and experience goes by, your chart, your equity curve starts to look a little like this. You know, as time goes on, you get better, and you don't think it's going to happen overnight. Some people think, oh, you can make money in 2 weeks, and this is the hardest, easiest money I've ever made. So again, a lot to it. So protecting yourself from you, basically that's the deal with the personal trade manager. The big guys got them, and they have people tapping people on their shoulders that aren't doing a very good day and saying, okay, you're done. Take the rest of the day off because you're not with it today. So who do you have? And that's kind of where this all started to come to be, is that you set your rules. You set your rules in a controlled environment when you are the weekend after you've done your studying and whatever your money management rules are. And it's designed to allow you to set your own hard daily and weekly drawdown limits based on your goals and your account sizes and what it is. And if you have multiple accounts, if you have a micro account and a mini account or a forex account, you might have different rules in those and different goals. So each account would have to be set up specific to whatever it is you're trading. And if your hard drawdown limits are hit, then you're done. It's that manager coming over, tapping you on the shoulder and saying, hey, take the day off, come back tomorrow. Once your daily and weekly goal is hit, you can continue to trade, but you never want to give up more than your set of allotment that you've given yourself or dollar amount from your goal. So you're going to go home with something, but at least you're not going to get stuck into the revenge trade mode if something happens. Some people just quit at the end, hit their goal and they're done, and that's fine too. And that could be set up in here also. And I know actually one person who actually does that. This is called your dynamic drawdown limit based on your account high. And it's a dynamic limit, and it just keeps going up on your account. And it will not allow you to go back by X amount from there. And the wording boxes will pop up and display when those thresholds are breached. And now here's the settings inside the discipline manager. It's not an indicator. It doesn't have to go on your chart. It's a separate tool, and it's located in the control panel. Go under new, and you'll find discipline manager in there. You don't even, once you set up your rules, then you could close it or you could leave it open. Frankly, I kind of minimize the box because I like to see the stats grow. But you don't need to have it open. And actually, you could have it if you have multiple connections. You could even have it on one machine and trade on the other machine as long as they are connected to your account. Because what it's doing is it runs in the background and it's monitoring your account. So that's what it's looking at. So this is just a snapshot of it, and we're going to go through some of these. But you just from the top, you pick your account. Right now it defaults to SIM. Of course, you have to be connected to have an account there. But if you're connected, you'll see all your accounts in that drop down, and you pick the account you're dealing with, and then you put in your rules, your drawdown, your warning. Do you want a warning? So I've got some defaults here. Then you can change defaults, but $600, and then I want to be done at $800. You lose $800 per day, I'm done. Forget it. And then the one of the newer things is the daily trailing stop, and that I can explain that a little bit. But basically, that eliminates the spread from the halt to the goal, and it just trails you up and trails you up and trails you up. And if it comes back down, it's only going to give you that much. That $800 is kept in check of your halt. And if you don't have that checked, well, then you can go from, in this case, $800 to your goal. You can go $799 and then come all the way back down to, all the way back down where your goal is 1,000. So, or no, the goal is 800. So if you have an $800 goal here, then you have the $1,600 spread. So by keeping this checked, it keeps the 800. So if your account goes up 100, you're only going to lose 700. If your account goes up to 500, you're only going to lose 300 because it just keeps that up there. Once you've hit your goal of 800, this is what calls your daily dynamic warning, and it will allow 70% to, you can give back 70. And once you get 70% done, you get a warning saying you get a 50, that's called a mindset 15-minute circuit breaker, as we can call it. And I've got these set for 90. So basically the way and again, everybody's different, but the way I look at it is I'm going to get to my $800. And once I'm at $800, I'm just playing with house money, get some commissions in there, and I can keep going until I get up to my next level. And once I get up to 16, well, then I don't want to give back 90%. I want to change that percentage, and I'm only willing to do 50. And, and these are older things. I'm going to change these a little bit, but again, you decide what's for you. Obviously, if you're working a micro account, this really wouldn't be a good setup for micros. And the same thing goes for the weekly drawdown. If you have 2 consecutive bad days of 800, your $1,600, you're done on Tuesday. So if you blow Monday and get halted on Monday, get halted on Tuesday, come Wednesday, you're done for the week. With the warning, it's then $1,000. So that's all you're going to give up. Now that warning is higher, so it's not even going to show you a warning. I usually put 999 in there. If you don't want a warning, you can put a 999 in there, and that way it just kind of sticks out. It's never going to get hit. So you can see that this warning is higher than the halt itself, so you won't even get a warning. And some people don't like the warnings. They just want to keep going. I had it with the warning when I started, and that's kind of where it came to be. And then you have another weekly level 2. So if it gets there, there's that 999. So 33 SE is common. And then here's one of the later things that was involved was the unrealized orders, and basically it looks at intra-trade, and a lot of the rules for some of those prop hedge fund firms and whatnot are the rules are based on unrealized, which I do not like, but that's here nor there. And in any event, if you do have those, you could check that, and it'll pop you out in the middle of a trade. Close existing positions. I can go into all these individual settings, but I'm just going to be conscious of time here. But the open existing, if you have that unchecked and you take one contract off, and it turns out that you've breached your limit, well, it's going to continue until it finishes that trade, that second contract. But I don't want that. If I breach my limit, then I'm breached, and then just take it off. And one of the later things is the naked positions, because I've been getting into bots lately. Last couple of years I've been playing a little bit more with bots, and I've had my own design. I've got a couple of them out there that I use, and just in any kind of bots, they're bots, they're robots, they're algorithms, and things happen. And so if there is a naked position that's found, it will just instantly take it off. It'll flatten you. So I forget exactly what it is, like 300 milliseconds or something like that. But if it does not see a stop order on a position, it'll just take it off. And that's a nice protection that I have put on, again, for me. But I do have some people that use it, a lot of bots, and they like that as an added protection too. Now, some people don't use stops or they're hidden stops, and therefore their strategy will dictate when it goes on, and so they don't have it. And obviously you wouldn't want to check that, because it would pop you out each time. And then the bottom portion of the screen is just, and then it goes to the second screen, is just your stats. No, I'm sorry, this is your, oh yeah, it comes down, so I'm coming down here. So the stats, this is the kind of the window that I just like to see, basically this small little window here in the corner of my screen. And this will just count up. To be determined, you need your first trade. Now, as soon as you take your very first trade, you're going to see a negative in there, because instantly it's going to take out commissions, assuming you have Ninja set up for commissions, which I do. So instantly it's going to see a negative, whatever, money, and you're going to be looking at it like, oh, what's that? Well, that's commissions. And then once you take your trade off, then it'll hopefully go up, possibly go down, and then the weekly, and so on. So that's it for the settings. Moving on, so the drawdown warning, let's say you have a $350 drawdown warning, and once realized, if it's realized, that's checked. Once you close the order and you've breached $350, the discipline manager will trigger a circuit breaker requiring you a 15-minute mindset. Circuit breaker timeout, if you will. Go get a cup of coffee, go grab a bite to eat, walk around the block, do what you need to do, come back and, kind of figure out what you want to do. You want to keep going. You can keep going because that's just a warning based on your settings. If it's unrealized and you breach $350 intra-trade, then the same thing. It's going to pop you out, close the trade, and say, go for a walk. And this is just kind of the warning that pops up, the daily warning limit. It tells you the account that you're in, the time, which is, if you want to look at the time, you'll see the 15 minutes, and then it tells you the account that you're on that has been halted. And then the actual halt itself, so you come back after 15 minutes, and now you do it again, and if it goes up, great, but if it doesn't, it'll allow you to continue to trade, but once that hard halt is hit and breached, then you're done. If you try putting on another order, it's just going to take it right off. You're not going to get it. And the same thing would go with the the weekly too. If you breach your weekly limit, then it would be done for the week, and you couldn't trade till next week. And there's the warning that pops up there. They show up as error messages, and that's a Ninja thing, but they're actually just the little notices here. It's a halt. It's shows you the account, the date, and again, and it says no more. So you're done. And if you try to cheat it, you're not. So a reset. There was a lot of discussion regarding the resets. I don't want it. Some people didn't want it to reset, and with some talk about, with some, lawyers and other people, and you can't. This is your business. This is your trading business, and the discipline manager, me, nobody's going to tell you what. Well, maybe your broker will tell you what you can't do, but it's really not our responsibility. The way I look at it is, you're the CEO, and you're hiring the discipline manager to kind of police it. But if you don't like what it's doing, you could hit reset. Maybe your numbers are wrong. Maybe you did something. You shouldn't be doing it in the middle of the day. You should be doing this after hours and weekends and things like that, and reestablishing these goals. But in the middle of the heat of the moment is not the best time to be doing that. But at the end, it's realized that you're the owner, and this is your business, and you should be able to make the final decisions. And if you want to fire the discipline manager, you hit reset, and that'll take care of that. But if you do decide to do that, you would just go to the discipline manager and navigate to the account in question, and then you hit the reset button at the bottom of the screen in the corner. Now, for this to take effect, you do have to relaunch Ninja. And there's a reason for that. But the main reason it's a good one, is that it just gives you time. It says, you really want to do this. That means you got to shut down your strategies if you're using those, shut down your indicators, you got to turn off Ninja, come back on, fire back up your connection. By that time, maybe 15 minutes has gone by. But if you do wish to reset the discipline manager once you come back online, keep in mind your numbers are still going to be there. You're not going to fool the system. As soon as you take your first trade, it's going to look at your account and say, you've breached them, you're out. So, using the same numbers is not really a good idea for that same day, because you're going to get the same results. And there's the reset button down there in the bottom. So then goals and dynamic drawdown. Now here's more on the positive side. So now you're moving up, and your goal's been hit. And so you get your warning. It says, congratulations. So now your daily drawdown limits are in effect. And so that if you had your trailing stop to get to your initial goal, that's no longer. Now these goals take an effect. And as we talked about earlier, if that's a percentage of whatever you're willing to give back. The two rules of thumb, with this, and you probably heard them both, but you can continue to trade, but you don't want to give back, more than a percentage of whatever it is that you've decided of your money. And or the other option is you've hit your goal and you're done for the day. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. It's time for day drinking. That's my firehouse time. So, be done with it. And I do know somebody who actually does that. They just put it in there as 0. So once they've hit their goal, they will give 0% back. And if they try to, finish the next leg of the move, they won't do it. So they're forced to take their money. Now, once your goal is hit, the dynamic drawdown becomes effective, and will halt your trading if it's breached. So once whatever your goal is set, as I just talked about, if you set it for 0, you're not going to get anything back. If you set it to 100, that means you're going to be able to give all of your goal back but then it'll stop. So basically, like I said earlier, 90%, you're playing with house money at that point. Now, obviously, you don't want to give it back. And if you get too much higher, then you've got the level 2 that will change that percentage. Anytime you want to change a percentage, that's when you would go to the higher level. But again, as the CEO of your business, you're in control, so you delegate your rules to the discipline manager and allow the discipline manager to monitor your employee, which hence is you. So example, just as the circuit breaker warnings discussed earlier, let's assume you have a drawdown warning at 30% of your realized order. So assuming your initial daily drawdown set for 500, the discipline manager will trigger a circuit breaker requiring a 15-minute mindset timeout if you breached 150 bucks. So you've got your $500 minus 30% of that is 350. So when your account now is a negative 350, it's going to say go take a walk. So that's how that one works, and it's going to force it. You're going to see your warning there, and it's going to say, and you could look at the time, and you could look in your log too. It'll show it in there, but you could look at your time and say, well, there's nothing I can do, so I might as well leave. Or reevaluate, do something, change markets, whatever. But that account, that account is just frozen for a little while. Your dynamic drawdown is just that. It's dynamic. It moves around. Oh, you're telling me something, Steve. Maybe this is old. Minimize. Want me to minimize? Maximize. It is max. Do you see it here? Now, Rob, is this an old note to me? I'm not looking at comments right now, but where'd it go? Yep, lost my spot. Okay, so anyway, so there's your warning, and there's it'll tell you your time, and then you can move on from there. And then so it's dynamic. So when you've exceeded your goal, and let's say your goal is 500. And so let's say you've got a goal, or here an example, you got a $1,000 balance, you got your $1,000 that you made your profit, and your warning set for 30. So when your account gets to $700 of profit, it's going to give you the warning, and when you get to $500 of profit, you're going to be done for the day. And it's going to keep going up though. So now you've reached $1,500, and 30% of that is $1,000. So when your account reaches $1,050, then you get your warning. And if it goes down to 750, then you're done for the day with that. And so that's kind of how that works. And there's the warning again there on the halt. So just the halt set. It just kind of tells you what you're doing. Some of the added features, there's the same screenshots again I showed earlier, but last year we had the max trades added, and the max losses. I don't use these, but there are users that kind of suggested that, so I put it on the list. And it was implemented back last year. The weekly, now I should talk about max trades real quick. Max trades is based on how many trades there are. It doesn't know how many contracts, not contracts per se, it's how many hits that you've had on your account. So for instance, if you put on your one trade by itself, one contract, it's going to hit your account with that commission, as I talked about earlier. So that's going to be counted as a trade. Then when you take it off, that's 2 trades. So just because you put one, it's not a round trip, it's a single use. So same thing with max losses. The daily and weekly drawdown limits at level 1 and level 2 were added. We just had level 1, so we've added level 2, so you can change your percentages. And who's to say, maybe there'll be a level 3 at some point, but level 2 seems to be fine. Then we have last month, or a couple months back now, gosh, July, we added the daily trailing stop. And this is what I was alluding to earlier, was if you have your halt at 800 and your goal at 800, you've got a $1,600 spread between the two of those, if that's unchecked. By checking that, that will maintain $800. So as I said before, if your account goes up $100, the most that you're going to give back is a negative 700. And if it goes up, so on. If you're at $700, the most you're going to lose is $100 for the day if you let it go all the way back down again. Now, once you hit your goal, that's a moot point, because then these start tracking. And the next one I have right now, which is going to be out next month, which is like tomorrow or 2 days from now, but it's coming out probably in a couple weeks. I actually already have it on my screen, and you're seeing it right here. And that's the max position size. This one here is the new one. I'm testing it, but it seems to be doing fine, so I'm pretty comfortable with it. And again, it's not going to, it's not going to stop you from doing it. Initially, when you put on, if you have your contract size at 4 and you put on 5, it's going to see it and it's taking it right off. And then the one that I really like, this was mine that I wanted. Somebody else wanted the position size, but this one was mine because I'm doing more and more strategies right now, and that's the naked position. I check that on mine, and that way, if I ever see a naked position without a stop, then just stop it. That's not my style, and if that is your style and you use it for whatever reasons, then you would want to uncheck that. And by default, it's unchecked, but if you're into strategies or whatnot, you may want that. The discipline manager drawback. The main obstacle is that the discipline manager can't suppress market orders. So, many people have requested it to be used with their bots. Well, if your bot, I say bot, but robots, algorithm, strategy, robot, whatever you want to call it, when your strategy puts on a market order, then it's just going to take it off instantly if your things have been breached, if your rules have been breached, and it's the market order is instant. So if you it's going to go on instant, it's going to create a commission, and then the discipline manager is going to take it right off, and all you're going to do, maybe even get some slippage. All you're going to do is beef up commission charges. If you think you're going to be faster than it, it's not going to work. It's just going to keep taking them off. Now, if you put a limit order on or a stop order, and the price hasn't gotten there yet, with the flash of a second, so many milliseconds, it's going to see the order there instead of say, oh, you've breached your rules, and it takes it right off instantly, and then it's not effective. But if you try to beat it with the market order, or if the robot tries to beat it because something has set up and it instantly places a market order, then it's going to instantly be taken right off again because you've breached your rules. Now, in my strategy, I've got it set where if an order is taken off, it closes the strategy, so it won't happen again. So in any event, that's the market order issues, and that's the drawback with market orders. You're just trying to beat it, and it's not going to happen. We're monitoring this number here with Ninja, this SDT 3149. It's the suppressing manual orders, and we're trying to follow up with Ninja on that so they can kind of get that. If anybody wants to follow up on that, maybe it'll push it to the top of the list. So anyway, before I move on to any questions on how to download it, this is we're going to get into the next phase, and I'll show you how to get it. Here's our 2020 COVID life chart. You can see how things have changed. But anyway, I'll probably just save the questions just for time purposes. I'll save any questions if there's some at the end. If not, I'll give you the contact information. You could send them to me, but I'm going to try to get some questions at the end. So getting started. Currently, it's offered at a subscription using the PayPal at $49.95 a month, or an annually at a big discounted rate at $397. The web page lets you download it for 20 days free. You can play around with it. You could set it up on your SIM account. Establish your rules on your SIM account, and then make some trades, or you can put it on a simulated data feed and make some winning trades, and force it to make a winning trade and go up, and you'll see what happens at those levels. Now, the monthly and annual options are available and can be canceled anytime. Now, PayPal makes it really easy for you to manage your subscriptions, and that's just with a few clicks you could turn it off. And so this is how you get it. You go to the Tremper.com website, and under Tools, you would click that one, and then you would go down to the Discipline Manager. And that's the first one down there. And then this webinar here is one from Ninja a year ago. Then in there's price options, and there's a couple videos. There's some settings which more or less talks about what I've just talked about. And you could kind of further on down the page. But basically, the price options is where you're looking for, because then there you'll see that free link, and that link has got a 20-day trial on it, and so you don't need to do anything with it. You can just download it right there, lickety split. Then from there, you've got the Trader's Corner special that I've come up with. And here is I'm doing a 30% off, which is, part of this webinar and the Discipline Manager. It can be downloaded, but using this hidden discount button. And I have to show you where that is, because if you just go to that regular one that you just went to, you'll get 20 free days. But then if you like it and you want to continue it, and you go to the web page again, you'll sign up PayPal, but you won't have the 30 days. So that's why I got to show you this 30-day button, because it'll establish that 30 days for the lifetime of your subscription. Now, a lot of places will say, 30% off the first month or something like that, but this is the lifetime of the subscription. And this expires November 6th. I'm just doing it for the week. And so by using this button, you can get that lifetime subscription 30% off deal. But doing it the other way, you won't, because it'll be over. So in this case, we want to go to referrals. Go to Trumper and referrals. And then from there, you're going to go down to discount codes. Now here I got a lot of hedge funds or prop firms, whatever I'm going to call it. There's a list of them in there. But in discount codes, I'm always updating this, because there's always different codes in there for the different vendors. And I don't have affiliation to this kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know who they are. There's some I like and some I don't like. But down there is that hidden button that I was talking about for the Discipline Manager, and that's where you kind of want to go to. Now, subscribing on that button will give you your 20 days free, but when it does, after the 20 days, it will be at that discounted rate using this button. And this will be gone on the, what is it, Saturday? The 6th? What is Saturday? Yeah, probably Sunday it'll come off. So that's how you get that. And then when you do go in there, it's going to take you to your PayPal. If anybody's not familiar with PayPal, and just down, it'll show 0 price. And if you open up that little caret there, little symbol, the caret, it's going to pop out this box, and it'll show you that it's 20 days, and then it's going to show $350 after that, and then your start date and whatnot. All right. So contact information is right there. I'm going to try to get through some, because I've done this before a couple of times and there's always questions. So I like to kind of keep a little time open for questions. But if you didn't get yours answered and like to contact me, personally, whatever, Skype, there it is. So other than that, I mean, I can go through the settings again, but I think you got the gist of the settings. If there's any other questions on those, that's kind of what I wanted to go over. And that's pretty much the Discipline Manager.